Hi, I'm Ashley, and I help people to speak the way they've always wanted to speak. One of the things that I help people with is pronunciation, particularly pronunciation in a standard Southern British English accent, which comes under the umbrella title of RP, or received pronunciation. However, I also coach people in lots of other things like public speaking, presentation skills, breath work, and also helping people to develop deeper and richer voices. So if you're more interested in that kind of stuff, click in the link in the description box below. Otherwise, let's get started. So today's lesson is on something called rhoticity, not rotisserie, that's very different, but rhoticity. And this is the subject, when you're thinking about accents, of when and when not to pronounce the letter R, because it varies a great deal. Some speakers are what you call rhotic speakers. And these speakers follow a very, very simple rule, which is when they see an R, they say an R. And it is very straightforward. Many speakers in Scotland do this. Many speakers in Ireland, in the West Country, the West Coast, southwest coast of England. Lots of people in North America do it. It's very prevalent by many speakers in many different languages and accents. However, there is also something called a non-rhotic pattern, or a non-rhotic speaker. And these speakers only say an R if it is followed by a spoken vowel. I'll say that again. They only say an R if it is followed by a spoken vowel sound. I'll come back to what I mean by spoken vowel in a moment. Now, it's not good or bad to be one or the other. It's just different. And this video is about what standard Southern British English speakers do, which is to say that they are non-rhotic. So they only say an R if it's followed by a spoken vowel. So if we take a sentence like this: Rebecca ran quickly through the flowers and around the river to catch Rover, her manic dog. Rebecca ran quickly through the flowers and around the river to catch Rover, her manic dog. So based on that rule, just have a think about which of those R's would or would not be said. What do you reckon? So let me put you out of your misery. The R's that would not be said is the R in flowers, because it's followed by the consonant S, flowers. So not flowers, for example, but flowers. At the end of river, yeah, not river, but river. At the end of rover, yeah, not rover, but rover. And also, believe it or not, at the end of her. So not her, but her. Because in all those words, the R's are not followed by a spoken vowel sound. Now, depending on the kind of R that you're used to making, and by the way, I've got another video on the pronunciation of the R itself when it is spoken in this accent. The link is in the description box below. But depending on what kind of R you use, the thing that to really pay attention to is that when you're avoiding an R, the tip of the tongue is down behind the back of the bottom teeth. Many speakers use the tip of the tongue when they make their R. The only exception around that is for speakers, particularly French speakers, who might, some French speakers, use the back of their tongue up at the back of their mouth. And so the tip is already down. So the challenge for you is not only to have the tip down, but also to have the back of the tongue down. And then you will successfully avoid the R sound. Now, one way to kind of cheat yourself into this is to think of words that do not end with R's compared to those that do. So, for example, a word like pizza, pizza, or the type of fish, tuna, tuna. And actually, tuna is a good example because when you're using that word as the fish, T-U-N-A, it's just N at the end. But if you think about a radio tuner, T-U-N-E-R, those rhotic speakers would put the R back in, right? They would say tuner. But speakers of this accent don't. The ends of those words rhyme with each other. Tuna and tuna. The tip of the tongue is down for both. So that's the little tip. The tip of the tongue goes down behind the back of the bottom teeth. The body of the tongue is also low during that syllable. So have a go at this. Rebecca ran quickly through the flowers and around the river to catch Rover, her manic dog. What tends to catch people out is the her, not her, but her. So it's likely, for those of you who are rhotic or kind of semi-rhotic, if there is such a thing as being kind of in the middle, and there are some accents that sit in the middle, but if you tend to say the R in her or any of those words, it will probably feel as if you're not pronouncing the word correctly. And that's an indication that you're kind of getting it, if that makes any sense. All right, so just before I give you some more sentences to practice with this, it's worth mentioning that I have a free course in British English pronunciation, or the British English accent. It's got loads and loads and loads of stuff. It's got kind of a way of practicing, kind of schedules of practicing, and lots of tips and tricks, and anyway, blah, blah, blah. The link to that is in the description box below, and I'll reference it at the end of this video. So here are some practice sentences. Here we are. Our 14th anniversary party under the dark blue skies. Cover your supper, Matthew. Your father worked hard to make it. The more we argue, the further you push us apart. It is far worse to endure this hardship than I think you understand. So, if you're interested in my free course around the British English accent, then click on the description box below and all the details are there to sign up. If you're more interested in other things like public speaking, presentation skills, breath work, or developing a richer, deeper, fuller voice, then again, go to the description box and there's a link to my website with all my coaching services there. Consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of these videos, either about pronunciation or any of those other subjects, and hopefully I will see you soon.